Sentinel Prime. This time there's no paragraph to read. We just do and go. Okay. The Doom setting is really weird, right? Like, it's really weird. Like, that was a demon, right? That was a demon. What the fuck was that guy? But aren't these the anti-demon guys? Like, you think there'd be a clear-cut demons versus non-demons thing. Oh. Was that guy like... Other challenges this time? For this mission? Nope. I think this mission is just combat. Probably fills up pretty quickly too. It's probably just a short story-ish level. Maybe that guy was an angel? Or what the equivalent of an angel or whatever in this universe? I don't know. I feel like they expected you to pay more attention to the previous games or have a better memory or something of what happened before. I kind of thought that'd be a straightforward, like, very clearly human people team versus the very clearly demon people team, and that would be what the setting of Doom was. And I'm not sure if it needs to be more convoluted than that. It's Doom. Sentinel Prime. The ancient arena is a holy place for the people of Argent D'Nur. Constructed in the earliest days of their history, this Colosseum served as a proving ground for trial by combat. Historical records indicate that the Argenta did not jail their own kind. Rather, prisoners and criminals were granted the right to earn their chance at regaining honor through victory in the arena. Those who succeeded were given a place to fight in the front lines of the Sentinel army, to die in service of Argent D'Nur. This traditional use of the arena has subsided since the assimilation with the Dark Realm. The corrupted priests now allow more violent exchanges, with armed captives pitted against demons for sport. The priests of the Order Dig continue to hold undisputed power at Argent D'Nur. Spilling the blood of the Argent Ascended class will result in the transgressor's banishment. At least asylum amongst the Argenta will be denied to any who do not adhere to the rules of engagement. Aren't I here to kill Dig? I guess that's the weirdness, is that, like, we're just kind of... It seems to be repeatedly implied, or even just said outright, I guess, that the human planet has been infiltrated and taken over by a series of, like, demons, I guess? Like aren't the Hell Priests Dig and stuff like that? Like, aren't they demons? Like, I saw them. They seemed like they were demons. But, like, I just have to do way more research to understand it, and it's not that interesting, but it's distracting that it doesn't feel like it makes sense to me. But it's because I don't go further into learning more about it, but also the lore is really kind of just exhausting and convoluted and boring to read, that I don't want to read every single particle of leftover stuff that might give me context. I feel like it's not that hard just to have a Demons versus Space Marine storyline. It doesn't have to be like this fucking weird. Like, I guess they infiltrated humanity, and now they have power structures within humanity, which is what I'm dealing with now, right? Like, that's the point, right? Oh no, are we doing cutscenes?
We found him in the valley, just outside the castle walls. He was badly wounded and wearing this.
Guts. Huge guts. Kill them. Must kill them all.
He has fight in him yet.
In spite of his injuries.
Send him to the arena. Let him be judged like the others.
Wait, so they used to just be humans. Okay, so they were just human beings, and they've been, like, corrupted or whatever. See, we first see them as, like, demons, which is why the story feels confusing. But even then, like, if, like, how do you side with the demons? Like, how do you be in favor of... How does this... What the fuck is this supposed to, like, accomplish? How is this supposed to be helpful in any way? Like, just some vague concept of superpowers or something? Because it's not, like, profitable to do this. It's not, like, this isn't, like, a capitalist incentive because the world's obliterated. Like, there's no society. It can't be an upside unless you're, like... I don't know, you're Griffith, I guess? Like, you're selling out everything just for some vague concept of being really powerful yourself, but everything you've ever understood about the world and your surroundings is going to be completely gone, so what was the point? I don't know. History of the Sentinels, Part 4. In the time of King Novik, as the Argentus secured peace and safety through dimensions across time and space, an outlander came to us. He was not of our world and spoke an ugly tongue. How he first took step upon our land was unknown. Sentinel scouts had found the outlander bloodied, clawed, and near death, mumbling of impending doom and the forces of darkness. Oh right, that's just... I just realized that we just heard Doom Guy talk. And his subtitle literally said Doom Guy? Like, he's called Doomslayer all the time throughout the game and stuff. But his subtitle literally was called Doom Guy, which I thought was an unofficial name for him, except for maybe in the weird and supposedly very funny and self-aware and surprisingly good, maybe, but I haven't read them. Novelizations, or not novelizations, but the book. The Doom books that have Doom Guy and Doom Girl, and they're supposed to be actually pretty interesting or whatever. And then that I think he's just called Doom Guy, which is really funny. It's a very video gamey, silly, like Mega Man sort of name. But when the scene is being so serious looking, but his subtitle says Doom Guy, and he's talking about big guts, and he has a voice actor now, and it's like, oh. You went through all of 2016 with him being silent. He's been silent all game so far. Do we need flashbacks where he awkwardly says big guts? Is that gonna improve his characterization? I thought they already went far enough with how well they could characterize him while he's silent. Like, I love his stupid moments in Doom 1 where, like, obviously everyone talks about this all the time, but it's like when what's his name? Samuel Hayden, there we go, is talking to him on the comms, and then he just, like, brushes the fucking terminal aside and just like, nope, we're not doing this. He just breaks it and he moves on because you're not going to tell him what to do. It's kind of undercut of how you spend the rest of the game constantly having to stop and listen to Samuel Hayden explain things to you. So it's kind of a false setup of how the game's going to go when he disregards the exposition at the beginning. But the much better moment is that, like, that fucking elevator scene when Hayden is like, but you'll see this is all for the betterment of humanity, or whatever the fuck, and then Doom Guy just looks down at the shriveled, horrible corpse that's in the elevator with him or whatever, and he doesn't say anything. It's just like that visual juxtaposition of, like, this thing that happens in real life all the time where powerful people claim that something is for the betterment of people, and then you can just look right there to see how the people are doing and how those two things don't seem to match up. And, like, this has all these funny moments, like he's doing the joystick for the super guns, There was multiple times in the last few missions where I was in some sort of gun cockpit, and you just see him like impatiently clicking away at the firing mechanism, and while waiting for Vega to be like, "Would you like me to unlock the firing mechanism?" or whatever the fuck, and he's like, and he doesn't respond verbally. He just presses the button more, and it's like, dude, we don't need Doom Guy to talk. We've gone through what seems to be like 1.75 games without him talking in a row, or maybe like 5 or 6 games without him talking. Did he talk? I don't think he talked in the... I don't think there's really necessarily dialogue in the original games, but I'm not sure. But I have no idea what happened in Doom 3. That could be him talking all the fucking time. That was a weird game, but I also still haven't played that one. But based on the reboot, I don't need flashbacks of him talking. That's weird. The scent of blood that followed him and the gore that stained his armor seemed not entirely his own. I'd hope not. The outside of the armor is where the other people's blood goes. By Argenta law, the stranger would be judged in the Colosseum, where he would be given the chance of all who stray from the path to fight for his freedom. We knew not of this stranger. His mind seemed crippled with rage. He dressed in attire not suited for our lands and carried munition of arcane origin. We watched as his will overcame his injuries, and in the blood arena he proved his worth. The Outlander's technique was crude and brutal, but the determination in his charge echoed that of any true-born Sentinel. His war cry echoed through the Colosseum, as did the sound of his fury, and the guards cheered his banner. "Rip and tear," they shouted, as the beast pushed beyond mortal wounds and certain death. He would be gifted no rank, no title. The survivors in the arena were provided only one reward: the right to earn an honorable death while spreading the blessings of the Makers to those in need. The Outlander's determination was witnessed, his ravings documented, and through the word of the Order Dig and Khan Maker had him brought before her. She set her minions to learning his tongue, for with his ugly words he spoke of lands unseen, creatures born of fire, in a dark place unknown to the queen of her caste. Yet another opportunity to expand the gift of the Maker to those in need. Well, I'm the Outlander. But Sentinel Prime's another planet, right? So like this is not Earth, right? This is another planet called Sentinel Prime. So I went to some place called Sentinel Prime, maybe as a result of the consequences of like various other adventures on other games. Like maybe after the ending of one of the other games, I ended up on this other alien planet full of night people, which look like humans, so it's fucking confusing. And then, so this whole game's my fault, isn't it? Like, isn't it my fault the Khan Maker even knew about Earth? Since apparently I'm speaking of distant lands and whatnot. So like I became my current ridiculous super soldier self by being forged in this arena, just raging forever. The kid just rages for a while. But then I fucked up and introduced the Khan Maker to here, which is bad. There are so many pages of story. Where's people? You think the head would be people, but apparently that's not people. I want to click on the Khan Maker and Order of Dig because I don't seem to have entries for those people. I'm trying to figure out what the fuck is going on with this story. Oh, I'm sorry, I just remembered I don't care. Alright, I'm done questioning it. It's fuck it. Fuck it. Fuck it. It just seems so out of place.
O great powerful one, a sign of truce.
Why do you look like an alien and or demon? But like the priests, which I think are your people, looked like humans? Like they looked more like you in the intro of this game where they looked like shriveled whatevers, but when I just saw them in that cutscene, they looked like 30-year-old white men that are wearing overly fancy ornate costumes because they're assholes. but not because they're like demon angels or whatever. Oh. On the eve of the Black Star, the Dark Ones came from a world beneath our own, not through ship nor ephemeral vessel, but through the fabric of dimensions. Out of swirling fiery gates came horned beasts from a timeless realm. First one, then many crashing waves of evil swelled from the obsidian forest of the Argentian overlands. The Elerum clans from the eastern mountains fell first to the black hordes of devils, and the city of Telerum was slung under the weight of their charge. We Sentinels rose to meet the beasts with spear in hand, the might of the Holy Fleet striking back at the demons. But the dark gates from whence they came gave birth to even greater hordes. A line of blood was drawn, with the fallen on both sides. And unholy wars began as the time of darkness came upon us. I think part of the issue with the story is that almost none of this matters. It doesn't affect what happens in front of me the vast majority of the game, which is just, you know, rip and tear, explore, rip and tear, explore, rip and tear, explore. And each mission has an objective, but the objective is really, like, the through line of the story of what I actually do is so simple. Oh, there's 3 hell priests or whatever I think they're hell priests. There's 3 priest dudes. Get them. You gotta get them to stop the apocalypse. So that you start with killing one of them in the intro, and then there's 2 more. Ah, clear. That's our objective. We go get the second guy. Then they're like, oh, this third guy, he's harder to find. It's gonna take a while. And so we just have this breadcrumb trail for a few missions of like how to track down that guy, and it involves Samuel Hayden. So then we track him down, and that's we're in the process of dealing with that. Like, that's so simple. And all this lore is so convoluted, but it's also really hard to remember anything, like any of the names and what they mean and how they connect to each other and what all the factions are and what all the places mean, because you're not experiencing any of them. You're just being told this endless exposition that surrounds the game you're playing, but it's not actually the game I'm playing for the most part. I'm just going to a bunch of locations and fighting the same demons over and over again. Like, I'm not meeting any of these characters or factions in a way that's really that understandable. And so I don't have that much of an impact of like, what do these things mean to me that you're saying to me? What should I care about that specific element? Or what is the order of the Deeg? As you can tell with my level of retention we're having here.
What you have left behind. Go back to it then. Leave this crusade. You cannot save them. They have asked me for this, and so I give it to them. If you let the priest live, then I will return to you what the demons took from you so long ago. Your need will return back, and it will be yours again. All the pain you carry will be gone.
Holy fuck, talk faster. You talk so slowly. Is this Naboo? What is this place? Looks like Naboo. It's really weird looking. Oh, this is the let's have too much story and cutscenes and dialogue and notes part of Doom, apparently. That's a fitting thing to include in Doom. That's why we're all here. Unlike enemies of the past, we could not contain the demons emergent from the Dark Realm. Their weaponry was not conjured from machined steel, but from the essence of their very being, a dark magic not known to us in our many conquests. We have grown overconfident, our victories serving to dull our blade as we drank in the glory of our expanding empire. Last, we knew not of how to prevail against this foe. The Maker Gods stood perplexed, and our engineers and priests scrambled to find the advantage in battle we so desperately needed. Unknown to the enemy, we were pushed to the brink of defeat, and our gods stood with us as we worked to find the answer. The Order of the Deeg were the first to unlock the mystery of these foul creatures. The priests were able to capture several of the beasts and set about to identify the source of their power. It was then that the essence of the realm was discovered, not wholly unlike our own. This power was the life essence that flowed through their twisted form and empowered their attacks. It could be harnessed to power our own weapons, giving the Argenta the chance to combat the demons on even footing. The priests believed that with greater knowledge of the essence, we could discover its source and cut it off from demons to strangle their armies from within, allowing us to retain the advantage we required for victory on the battlefield. The Khan Maker gave blessings to our majesty and directed the priests to delve deeper into the mysteries of the scarlet elixir from the demonic realm, for she sought only to return balance to our universe. Proper assimilation was required, as hell stood beyond her influence. After great effort, the priests discovered more than they had hoped for. They learned of the true nature of the demonic energy, and how it could strengthen those skilled enough to harness its power. The energy coursing through the malformed bodies of our relentless enemy could be used to end life or to enhance it. The power to heal, to mend, immortality, knowledge, and enlightened faculties beyond our understanding. With the demon's life force in the skilled hands of the Sentinel priests, and under the righteous gaze of the Khan Maker, our people would not only rise to victory over the unholy horde that clotted our walls, we would move to a higher plateau of existence, ushering in a new era of military science and industrial healing. No Sentinel would grow sick. No Maker would need to suffer the transfiguration that they so feared. What? All would be risen. None would ever oppose our peaceful ways and threaten our world again. True balance over hell and its legions, over space and time, in this world and all others, we would dictate the order. United with the Makers, we would find peace eternal. The Transfiguration. See, every one of these lore drops, they mention like 6 different things where I don't fully understand what those things are, and so that kind of renders the entire passage meaningless. I need a glossary. Like when they say certain things, I need to be able to look up what the fuck that word means, and there isn't one. Like there's a codex, but the codex doesn't feature a glossary. The only thing that there's a glossary for is the enemies. These are the enemies in the game, so this is a glossary. This is the only glossary in the game. Everything else, and I guess my weapons too. But like, those are the 2 things that matter most to me as the player. But like all this fucking lore, it doesn't have a glossary, so it's so hard to latch onto any of it, because I'm like, what's going on? Like, we kind of failed to establish like a basic status quo at the beginning of like, you are the Doomslayer. You are on this side. This is the current status of Earth. Here are all the factions and what they think about each other, and which ones are allies and which ones are enemies, and which ones are infiltrating who, and what means what, and what do demons look like? What do angels look like? Are there angels? Am I making that up? I'm not even sure. And it's like, it's fucking annoying. You need like a YouTube channel to explain the story to you, and that's never my favorite. There we go. Okay. The Khan Maker demanded a tithe of the essence, and driven by her desire, the priests submitted themselves to her will. The Order of the Deeg took counsel with the king, speaking only of the spoiled lands sure to be found through the cleft in creation, and the opportunity to purge the new invaders from Argent D'Nur. We took the war to their cursed land, pressing through the gates of wizardry. There was one among us who seemed to know the true nature of these foul demons. It was the Outlander, the stranger who had come to us from places unknown. He who had survived in the front lines far longer than any Sentinel-born prisoner had before. His passion for battle against the vile horde was evident, his lust for their destruction matching our own. Though Argent D'Nur remained a foreign land to him, his fervor caught the attention of inquisitors in the Sentinel Guard, some whispering of a suspected allegiance he held in secret with the demons. Silencing the critics, King Novik deemed him worthy of selection. So here's a thing, among other things, when we first dealt with King Novik and the weird temple full of, like, wolves or whatever, I thought that was on Earth. I guess it's on Sentinel Prime? Like, that wasn't clear to me we even went somewhere besides Earth. Everyone looked like they were Earth people. I don't know what normal Earth looks like. For all I know, we just have cool temples and dog and like wolf statues everywhere. Like, that could just be a place. Like, I'm from Earth, and I'm some sort of ridiculous badass, so there must be, like, places where that make those badasses, like Space Marine trainers. Once you have Space Marines, you're already talking about a distant future nightmare dystopia that's probably really fascist. So, like, when I saw that castle, I'm like, yeah, this is just Earth, right? Just not the part that's currently on fire or something. I went here to get, like, a sword or whatever. Like, I didn't question it for a second, but I guess that wasn't Earth? I guess I was supposed to know that? I don't fucking know. King Novik deemed him worthy of selection. The signifiers brought a commission to our king, and it was decided that he be lifted from the common rabble. Does that mean that that human guy I saw earlier that looked like, that was called like the betrayer or the exile or the outcast, which seemed important, but we only talked to him for like 20 seconds and then he vanished forever, I guess? I thought he was going to be like a main character that reoccurs, but I guess that was the R1 interaction. Was he not human? He's from the Sentinels? Is that what that is? Though no arena-born prisoner had ever been granted the honor, the Knight Sentinels broke tradition and deemed the Outlander worthy of training. A number of disciples grumbled and chafed at the barbarian present in their ranks, but in the war with the demons, all opportunities for even the slightest advantage were to be considered. Then as they witnessed the stranger spar with their hall masters, they found him an undying, unrelenting compatriot. This man was an outsider, friend to none, and yet rose each time he was thrown to the dirt of the circle. Battered and bruised, his brow stained with blood, he rose with grim determination for the chance to face his enemies in armed combat once again. Time passed as the stranger was instructed in the codified matrices of their order, the ancient lessons of battle and brotherhood taught to all sentinels. He could sense the opportunity before him. Soon, all of hell would feel his wrath once again. Satisfied that he would not be a detriment to their prowess, the Knight Sentinels granted him his wish as they ventured through the hell gates with the stranger in tow. They knew no rest. Fighting in the unnatural elements and training under the blood moon of night, the stranger suffered exhaustion, wounds, and sickness, but asked for no aid and was offered none. 3 times the Knight Sentinels ventured into the gate and back, and upon every return the stranger strode more capable than before, his gait locked in step with the march of the Sentinels, a disciplined and now controlled lust for demon blood ever present. The passing of years and numerous battles with the devils indentured the stranger to Argenta's mightiest warriors, and no longer did they condescend to him as a new-blooded conscript, for to them he had become a brother in arms forged in war, an ally, and a weapon. So I think the transition from him being this uncontrollable rage ball to a restrained one is supposed to be the explanation for, among other things, why he talks in the flashbacks. And he's like this, and he's just kind of grunting rage words around. But then more recently, he's like, he's silent and restrained and all that. That's supposed to be that transformation. But it's still really, it's like, oh, there's still that feeling of like, why are you doing that to Doom Guy? When you flash back and hear him saying stupid things out loud, you're like, no, don't say things, Doom Guy. You're Doom Guy.
I pity these theirs is a hard role to play. But I too have a world to save. Without their souls, there can be no hell energy, and the Argent will cease to flow. I cannot allow this to happen. You will not stand in the way of Erdak's progress. This is how it has always been done. It is not for you to deny us our chance at prosperity.
The Argent must flow. God damn it. History of the Sentinels, Part 8. As we warred with the beasts, the Argenta society grew, under the watchful eye of the Makers and through the endless power of the Essence. While our generals were consumed with the unholy war, our culture was marked by the beautiful potion the enemy had provided us, the sweet elixir. It brought us immeasurable capacity, and empowered us to reach further into dimensions once thought to be beyond our grasp. Under the direction of our maker gods and the engineering of our high priests, our weapons blazed and our war machines stormed. The throngs of populace drank deeply with the well of energy unveiled by the priests, but we of the Night Sentinels took no part in their abundance. Some among us whispered accusations and warnings against this manner of progress, but they were quelled, as it was not our role to dictate the future of our people, only to defend it. Thought that was interactive for a second there. This is on its way to being a whole episode with no combat in it, in a Doom game. Them doing the token gesture at me exploring and getting something every now and then is, I don't know, it feels weird. It feels kind of like the Fortress of Doom, where I'm just like, maybe deleting this from the game would make the game better. You know? Like maybe this entire level is just padding. And we can just get to the part where the gameplay happens. Part 9. As the Black Star ascended to its zenith, King Novik sat restless on his throne as a howling darkness began to assemble just beyond the mountain rise to the east. The blight came upon us in droves, flooding forth from the Hell Gate with merciless fury. They brought with them a monstrous titan, the Dreadnought, a beast to rival the stature and menace of even the mightiest ancestral. The grotesque giant laid waste to all before him, crushing all in his path. This was a total demonic assault, striking at the heart of Argent D'Nur as never before. How was it that the behemoth could pass through the demonic gate without a warning? We would never know, though the Night Sentinels believed treason was at play. Caught off guard, the Sentinels scrambled late in defiance of the Titan and his horde, and with his coming the holy city of Taris Nabad prepared for judgment. With the onslaught of the demons massed in the sprawling shadow of the abhorrent fiend, the city shook to its foundation. None were spared, save those that fled north. The vile swarm ransacked our temples and palaces, burning our towers and feasting on the souls of our clergy. Yet the Night Sentinels rallied and held fast against the demons, though they were pushed back and corralled at the blood arena. As the dark of night descended, their swords remained potent, shred the enemy multitude with abandon. Amidst the unyielding ranks of the Sentinels, when all other apprentices had fallen in battle, stood the Outlander. Rip and tear, he roared, ferocious in battle. The remaining conscripts of the arena stood in awe as they witnessed the beast who had once raged within their very cells, now armored alongside the shoulders of his sentinel brethren. He had risen where none other had before, a true-born sentinel fighter, the very best among them. But though the swarm fell before their assault, the Titan remained invincible, for none could tame the behemoth alone. In the hours before dawn, as the Night Sentinels weathered the relentless assault, the Outlander held his ground at the foot of the great wall in the northern bend of the castle. Seeing his unending vigor, Samur, Chancellor to the Mother God, hurried the Outlander away under veil of secrecy, and for reason unknown submitted him to a rite untold. This was heresy, for Samur received no consent from the Khanmaker, nor did he receive her counsel. In the Chapel of Purity, the Outlander submitted himself to the divinity machine, where Samur Maker, the seraphim known to us only as the aid to the Mother God, blessed the Outlander with fierce speed and power to match his will. It was the method by which this transfusion took place that was most uncertain to us, for we were of the knowledge that the Maker device bestowed onto the Argenta so many generations ago was to be used by the priests only to find the impurity among us, how could it be that the device that was meant to cull the Sentinel breed of its contaminants could then be used to purify the Outlander's body, giving rise to one who would lead us into the battle henceforth? What rose from the holy coffin on that fateful day was not the impure abomination the Covenant warned us of. The hero within would come to be known only as the Great Slayer, the Time Walker, the warrior Khan, whose fire sword would blaze forth the path for the just and cut through the demonic horde with the vengeance that only a god king can summon. He rose unbroken by the ritual, his eyes burning with Maker magic. He took the crucible in his hand, and wraith fire leapt forth from the blade, as only it will when held by a true Sentinel warrior king. In our darkest hour, the Slayer had been chosen. Defying tradition, our most sacred laws, and the will of the great Khan herself, a stranger to our lands, had been blessed with celestial might.